Welcome back.
Hey, Stanley,
Yeah, George?
how'd you like your own TV show?
Hey, I got something to mail you out.
Oh, you be careful now, you hear? Before you go and say something you're gonna regret for the rest of your days.
Like what? Like the wrong kid died?
Oh, no!
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of The Wrong Podcast Died. I'm Brian.
And I'm Rod.
In this episode, we're taking a scenic trip down the river with a group of friends to enjoy wilderness, right?
Yeah, kind of enjoy it until you get to a certain spot.
And we're talking about the 1972 classic Deliverance.
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown on this one. It was widely released August 18th of 1972, rated R, runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes, and it stars some guys who were actually pretty big, like if you think about it now. John Voight as Ed, Burt Reynolds as Lewis, Ned Beatty as Bobby, and a name that I think a lot of people would just pass up and not know, Ronnie Cox as Drew. Now, Ronnie Cox has been in a lot of classic 80s stuff. He was in RoboCop.
He was trying to kill me.
He's a cyborg, you idiot. He recorded every word you said. His memory's admissible as evidence. You involved me. You're gonna have to kill it.
He was in Total Recall and like all the Beverly Hills Cop movies, but he also has a horror pedigree. He was in the 1977 The Car. He was in 1982's The Beast Within. He was even in Deep Blue Sea. And then in 2019, The Car, Road to Revenge, kind of the sequel, requel kind of The Car. And then the last one I'll mention is a actor named Billy Redden, who's done very little. They cast him as Lonnie, which you never hear the name, I don't think, but he's the banjo boy. And that kid freaked me the fuck out.
I think he's still around. I saw not too long ago on like Instagram where somebody had caught up with him and was talking to him.
Yeah, he had been doing trips down the river for people, and then as the river was getting more dangerous, he gave it up. But yeah, that's what he was doing when he actually was cast in Tim Burton's movie Big Fish as the banjo man.
I love that movie.
So that's what he found him doing, was he was doing tours down rivers. So
See, and we've talked about next year doing 6 Degrees of Separation on the podcast, where we would cover a film like Deliverance and we would find out that the Banjo Kid was the Banjo Man in Big Fish. So we could jump to the 90s or 2000s.
yeah, that was 2000.
Yeah, for Big Fish and do that. And then we'd have to figure out another way to jump to another decade or another year. But see, I think that would be fun next year to do,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, the jumps around. The film had a budget of $2 million. Box office I found was $46 million it made.
Yeah, 46.1, and it was the number 5 highest grossing film of 72. But it gets me because this is 1972 and they had $2 million. Now, they could have had actors Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson, but they would have cost $1 million for their cuts in the movie alone, so they couldn't do that. So that's why they got these 4 who were fairly unknown actors. And this was Ronnie Cox's first film that he ever did, really.
If I remember right, I read somewhere where Burt Reynolds was up for a part in The Godfather.
Yeah, but somebody didn't want him on there.
Yeah, he was supposed to play Michael.
Yeah, Marlon Brando did not want to have Burt Reynolds on that movie for some reason. And I don't know what it was, because I don't know what Burt Reynolds was really doing before this. I don't think he did any of the Cannonball movies or Smokey and the Bandit,
I thought this was right in the time period of those movies.
because he didn't have the stash. The stash wasn't there, people.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't there, yeah. Huh. So I'll give you a little synopsis. 4 Atlanta businessmen, Lewis, Ed, Bobby, and Drew, decide to canoe down a remote wild river in northern Georgia before it is dammed and flooded to create a massive artificial reservoir. What begins as an escape into nature quickly devolves into a brutal, terrifying nightmare of violent isolation and basic survival when they cross paths with hostile, predatory mountain locals. Well, that only happens once, twice, I guess.
Well, it depends on how you look at it, but okay, I'm going to make a confession, people. I always talk like I've seen this movie before. But no, this was my first viewing of this movie.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
I always thought when you hear the dueling banjos you run, that's not what happens in this movie with the dueling banjos. It's just a kid playing with the character Drew. Drew's starting to play, and then all of a sudden he hears a banjo play, and then they just keep going at each other like that. And it's actually one of the funnest scenes in this whole damn movie. Otherwise, this movie is kind of bleak.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's any other fun scenes. And they get right to that. I've seen this movie, but it's been years. And I kind of forgot after the banjos and after the sexual assault that happens not too far into the movie, what actually happened in the movie. I was like, we're only 20 minutes in, maybe, when the sexual assault happens.
Between a half an hour and 40 minutes. So it's
Yeah.
like about almost halfway there.
And I'm thinking, what's going to fill the rest of the fucking movie? Because that's the two most iconic parts of the movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy shit because basically these guys are going down the rapids, down the river.
They told him not to.
And they told them not to, because the whole premise of this is that Lewis wants to take these guys on a trip on a river that nobody else is going to see because they're about to flood this entire river and make it a lake because of some damming or something like that.
Now, I'm about to take you through a fully functioning power plant. So please, no one wander off the damn tour. And please take all the damn pictures you want. Now, are there any damn questions?
Yeah, we're gonna get some damn bait.
And so they go down the river and they don't know what's going to be down there. They hit some rapids at first. They make it. They camp for the night. They all feel energized, like they're very excited. And the next morning they go back down the river and let's see, it was Bobby and Ed make it first to a landing point. And that's where they run into these two hillbillies. And they thought, hey, how are you doing?
Well, now. Well. Well, louder. Louder.
So Ned Beatty, that is Bobby, he's told to undress completely, and the other gentleman is tied to the tree by his neck. The one hillbilly or mountain person has a gun, and one proceeds to chase Ned Beatty's character around and sexually assault him and tell him to. I think at one point he says,
Look like we got us a sow here instead of a boar.
and he proceeds to sexually assault him. I always thought from my previous watches, it's not pleasant, but I thought it was way less graphic than I remember it.
They didn't really show a lot. They didn't really show thrusting, which was good because back in that time, it might have been rated X if they did.
Yeah. So then Lewis comes with his bow and arrow. He's using a bow and arrow to shoot fish and, try to shoot animals. And he shoots the one guy and kills him. Like it was a through center mass, kills the guy. It takes him a little while to die.
Oh, yeah.
Then he dies. The other guy they chase off. He runs away. But then they have this stupid argument about what they're going to do with the body. I wanted to punch that motherfucker.
Rodney Cox's character, Drew.
Yeah, I was like, you're going to sleep with him. This guy just was going to kill your two friends. He raped the one guy.
Yeah.
And you want to take him to the police? I'd have chopped his ass up in little pieces. He'd have never been found.
That was the weird thing about this is that supposedly he was set up to be the morality of this group. Because later in the movie, they'll say that
He was the best of us.
Amen.
But man, yeah, I mean, here's where it was. He did not live in reality. He did not know that if you go in front of a hillbilly jury, they were going to hang you if you got to the courthouse.
To spoil it at the end, the police are kind of digging, really digging to try to find out what happened and where this deputy's cousin is. Because his cousins, they went hunting and they ain't been seen for a couple days. You boys didn't run into him, did you?
Right. And then their stories change a little bit, but I don't know how else you could have told it. I mean, I would say that there was a lot of confusion. And once you told them that one of your friends died, I mean, what else are you supposed to tell them?
Mm-hmm. Did they ever tell him that their friend died? They told him he drowned and then they couldn't find his body.
They must have, because they found the fourth life jacket and they go, where did this life jacket come from? And then Ed tells the truth, honestly, for once, and says,
how come y'all end up with 4 life jackets?
Didn't we have an extra one?
No. Drew wasn't wearing his.
Well, how come he wasn't wearing it?
I don't know.
because as they're going down that final rapid, Drew is up front with Ed, and he's not wearing it, and he's not listening to a word Ed is saying to him.
When they said he got shot, but I don't remember ever hearing a
Mm-mm.
gun go off or anything. And he acted like he just morale hit him. You know, his conscience hit him and he couldn't deal with it. So he jumped in the fucking river and down he went. Because they find him later on. That's probably the most horrific part of the whole fucking movie when they find his body.
Yeah, it's all kind of arm mangled up.
Yeah.
And
Like, oh, that's some good special effects there. It had some really good special effects.
so here's some of the interesting trivia that I found on this from IMDb is that there was really no stuntmen. The 4 actors basically did their own stunts. So here's some of the things that happened with Ned Beatty while filming in that white water canoe scene. He was thrown overboard and was sucked by a whirlpool. And one of the production assistants dove in to save him. He was down there for like 30 seconds, like underwater. And it was just kind of crazy. And the other thing, Ned Beatty's the only one who had any canoeing experience before this movie, which was insane. So, I mean, that's how they minimize some of the money on this because ironically, they did not insure the actors in this. And it's kind of funny because when Burt Reynolds' character Lewis does a scene and he's going down that river and bumping his ass off of rocks, he actually cracked his tailbone.
In the movie, he says, I broke my leg. He had a broken bone. It just wasn't his leg.
Right. Yeah. And it's ironic because a line that he uses towards the beginning of the movie is he says,
I've never been insured in my life. I don't believe in insurance. There's no risk.
and it's like, you got that one right.
If I remember right, they wanted to film this in the Appalachians, like West Virginia or something like that. And the governor was like, no. So they went to the governor of Georgia and he agreed. And the film making so much money and then doing well at the box office actually helped push for the film industry board or whatever to be formed in Georgia. And we still see stuff today. Walking Dead, Family Feud's filmed in Georgia now. The new Family
Really?
Feud.
Weird.
You see the Peach, the end of the shows?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, filmed in Georgia. So there's a lot of
Wow.
stuff filmed in Georgia nowadays.
Well, to go back to when you were talking about him shooting himself. So that scene, John Voight actually was scaling that steep hill. I'm sure there was ropes or whatever. And one of the other interesting things during that scene, because you know it goes to night, it's showing that it's taking time to get up that mountain cliff. And so what they did to the picture was they distorted the color a little bit to make it look like it was going to night. They did all kinds of weird stuff to save money, but I always thought that $2 million would have been a lot of money back then. But if they would have gotten Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando, it would have cost him $1 million, which damn.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have had any money. I mean, I'm sure you got to pay the crew and you got to have a couple canoes and all that business. It was the raft bids one shot. You know, did they have to reshoot any of those and get a new canoe? And
Yeah, I know there had to have been.
moving the church wasn't cheap, I wouldn't guess, unless they
No.
were in a town where they were actually moving the church.
That was always interesting when I saw that at the end because they eventually get to a town that's pretty much getting flooded right now. And when they go there, the church is like right at the water line. And then it's not until the 3 of them, Lewis, Bobby, and Ed, they're like, Lewis is in the hospital because he could have died.
Almost did several times, I think.
And Ed was in the hospital for a little bit, and Bobby was just relaxing with some old folks eating some good home cooked food.
He's eating potatoes and this corn's magical or
Corn-
something
ma-
along like those lines. I was like, God. And then the other guy's crying, and they're all just
Right.
kind of looking at him like the corn ain't that good. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, the ordeal that these men go through.
They told him not to.
Yeah.
The Ginter brothers or whatever they were, they told him, what do you want to go down there for?
Canoe trip?
That's right, a canoe trip.
What the hell you want to go fuck around that river for?
Because it's there.
It's there, all right. You get in there and can't get out. You gonna wish it wouldn't.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't win any awards, right? Like I couldn't find.
I don't believe so.
I think it was nominated for several, but I don't think it won anything.
I mean, it's pretty iconic, though, for that dueling banjos, which the kid wasn't even playing the banjo. He didn't know how. Some guy was like behind him doing it for him. I'm sure later in life he learned, but that and that squeal like a pig boy.
Okay, so that's another interesting thing. That line was created by Ned Beatty. I think he just didn't know it was going to be used on him.
Really? because it's based on a book by James Dickey. He wrote the original novel and the screenplay, and he was in the end. He was Sheriff Bullard.
Oh,
He made a cameo as Sheriff Bullard.
Huh.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. But it's weird in 1972 that this film did that well, though. Don't you feel like?
yeah.
But maybe it was that time period where Hollywood was going more violent and more different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because this is borderline horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure it Wrong Turn and some other stuff, you know.
You mean what Banjo Boy turned into?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? People probably watch this and they'll have eyes and are like, let's make some redneck killers. And this was that time period too, where if you've ever seen Joe Bob Briggs, How Rednecks Saved Hollywood, where it was like, well, African Americans aren't the villains anymore. Nazis aren't the villains anymore. There's a couple other people in there that weren't the villains in Hollywood anymore. So rednecks became the villains because they, you know, Hollywood needs somebody to be the villain in everything.
Right, yeah.
You know, it helped push like, okay, the Nazis are gone. And, you know, it was like in the 50s, a lot of movies had, you know, African Americans be the villains, you know, and then we went to the Nazis and then we went, I don't remember what, maybe like the punks were in the 70s, the hippies in the late 60s, early 70s, the hippies.
Hey, come around here again, I'm gonna call the fucking cops. Dirty fucking hippies.
And rock and roll was the villain. So this was like the next step for Hollywood. The rednecks became the villains.
Right? Because it wouldn't be much longer that Wes Craven would come up with The Hills Have Eyes. It was 1977. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah, rednecks. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I don't know. I know some rednecks that are villains. We should probably rate it because
yeah, I made the mistake last episode with the Masters of the Universe. Brian brought up, should we rate it? And I go, wow, let's do this or that or whatever first, and then we forgot about it. Sorry, folks.
So I'm going to rate this 4.25. So that's still an 8.5 out of 10, right? 4.25. Tidy whities, because they were kind of pink though, weren't they? Maybe it was just the color of the screen, but yeah, Ned Beatty's Tidy Whities.
Oh, okay. Well, I really enjoyed this one. I'm going to go a 4.75 out of 5. And it's nasty Ned Beatty teeth. Because that whole movie, that man had some of the nastiest looking teeth I've ever seen. And he's the one criticizing all these hillbilly rednecks.
Yeah. Who was it that was with him? Was it John Voight was with him?
Yeah.
And the guy says,
what you want to do with it?
He got a little pretty mouth, ain't he?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, let's do our physical media releases, and then we'll do this or that. DVD, February 16th, 1999 from Warner Home Video. I'm sure it had a VHS release or several of them before it got to DVD. Blu-ray Deluxe Edition from Warner Home Video on September 18th, 2007. And 4K UHD, whatever that means. I think it's just 4K. It's normally in packs, though, with other films and anniversary editions. So I don't know that it has a 4K release of its own.
Because I thought I owned this movie because I thought I picked it up at Goodwill at some point on DVD. No, I didn't. I'm sure I probably just neglected it because I thought I owned it. So I had to buy it on Vudu.
Yeah, no 4K standalone.
Somebody should pick it up.
Oh, I guess it's only reached 1080p resolution on standard Blu-ray. Wonder who did that. Let's see if it was a boutique. No, looks like just a standard Blu-ray release. You can grab it on eBay for $6. Wow, that's crazy. Some of the shit they put out on fucking 4K, and that Dirty Work has a fucking release on 4K and Deliverance don't.
Yeah, wasn't that a Vinegar Syndrome special edition?
Yep, yeah, that's super expensive now because so no 4K release. Huh. So just Blu-ray.
Sad.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do a little of this or that.
This or that. This or that. This or that. This or that. It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it out of sight.
So I put 10 down because I was like, these are pretty good. And I don't know that I can make it to a list of 5, but I'll just go down the list and kind of pick my favorites out. From 1977, you had already mentioned it, The Hills Have Eyes. A suburban family on a road trip becomes stranded in a desolate desert testing range, hunted by an isolated clan of mutated savages. And this got a remake in the 2000s, a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, like 2008, 2010. And yeah, I actually think I seen the remake before I saw the original.
And the remake's good, but gory as all get out. And the second one,
it's just a, gore fest.
Yeah, it's like a group of
military.
Yeah, it's a group of military that, yeah. Oh, let's see. We'll go with this one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. 5 friends traveling through rural Texas fall victim to a bizarre, brutal family of cannibalistic outcasts.
Solace family.
Yeah. Let's see. From 1971, this is one I hear a lot that's a super hard watch. Straw Dogs. An American mathematician moves to a quiet English village with his wife, only to face escalating savage harassment from the aggressive locals. From 1981, Southern Comfort. A squad of National Guardsmen on weekend maneuvers in the Louisiana Bayou accidentally entice a deadly guerrilla war with local Cajun hunters. I don't know that one, but it sounds fun.
Me either.
From 1977, Rituals. 5 doctors on a wildest camping trip in the Canadian bush find themselves systematically hunted by a hidden, sadistic assailant. Now, we'll give you one more. From 1986, Hunter's Blood. A group of city friends head out to the woods for a hunting trip only to cross paths with bloodthirsty, lawless backwoods poachers.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You know who else is a lawless, bloodless poacher?
Backwoods poacher?
Backwoods poacher. Our podcast network, the PFPN. Let's hear from them.
All of them are?
Yeah, a couple at least, I've heard.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
So now that we've heard from the podcast network, it's time for the news.
And on August 4th, Arthur Bremer is jailed for 63 years for shooting an Alabama governor, George Wallace. Now, this whole ordeal was pretty crazy. This dude is not known. Nobody knew the guy he shot, really, who was running for the Democratic primary to become president. And this Bremer, basically, he had decided he was either going to kill Nixon or he was going to kill Wallace. Nixon was a Republican and Wallace was a Democrat. They weren't quite nominated yet for each other's primaries, but it would have been a close race for each of them on their separate primaries. But he originally wanted Nixon. He desperately wanted Nixon, so much that it is my personal plan to assassinate by pistol either Richard Nixon or George Wallace. I intend to shoot one or the other while he attends a campaign rally for the Wisconsin primary. So the reason why he didn't go for Nixon is because he went to some town hall meeting or whatever with Nixon, and Nixon's security was just outrageous. Like, he had people everywhere. So on May 15th, though, George Wallace, first Wallace went to Wheaton, Maryland, to the Wheaton Plaza shopping center, because that's where the governor of Alabama was going to do his, talk to the people over there. And so Bremer went there, but Wallace was being heckled by everyone in the crowd. Like, people were throwing tomatoes at him. So he never did the handshakes or anything that Bremer was planning on shooting him then. But he later that day went to Laurel Shopping Center in Laurel, Maryland. And at approximately 4 p.m., Bremer eventually just pushed his way forward to the line. He aimed his .38 revolver at Wallace's abdomen and opened fire. He emptied the weapon before he could be subdued. He hit Wallace 4 times. Wallace fell back, lost a pint of blood. He went into a mild state of shock. One bullet lodged into his spinal cord. The other hit Wallace in the abdomen and chest. So there was 3 other people were wounded also unintentionally, a state trooper, then there was Wallace's bodyguard, and then there was one of his campaign volunteers that got shot too. Actually, another one too, a Secret Service agent named Zarbos was shot in the neck, and that dude basically lost most of his speech. He got hit like in the vocal box there. So the aftermath of this, after all this happened, so he was jailed. It was pretty clear cut that he did it, he planned it. But the Governor Wallace, who you would think would just give up because he's paralyzed from the waist down, he's elected governor of Alabama twice more in 74 and 82. But he did attempt to run for president one more time in 76, but he left the race early because it wasn't looking very good for him. He would later die of respiratory and cardiac arrest at Jackson Hospital in Montgomery, Alabama, September 13th of 1998. He did later forgive Bremer for shooting him. He wanted to meet up with Bremer, but Bremer refused to talk to him, which was kind of weird, but here's the aftermath with Arthur Bremer. So he was originally sentenced to 63 years in prison, but he only served 35 years behind bars. Following his appeal, his sentence was reduced to 53 years. He was released on parole in November of 2007, and his full sentence was legally concluded, which ended his probation too. That dude's still alive. The dude he shot is not. It's just an odd thing, and nobody knows about this. Nobody talks about these assassination attempts because he didn't kill him.
He just tried, huh?
He tried.
He's probably running like one of those games at the carnival where you got to shoot the water cart.
So I got one more story for news. A much lighter note, August 11th was declared Cheech and Chong Day in San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, man. Am I driving okay?
I think we're parked, man.
It was officially a municipal declaration made on that day by former Mayor John Gaddy to honor the famous countercultural comedy duel. So it was made to celebrate Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong's massive impact on pop culture because they had movies coming out. They don't celebrate this every year. So it's just on occasion, one or two of them will come to San Antonio and celebrate it with the citizens. But that's about it. But hey, somebody got high.
Hey, 'cause I got high. Because I got high, because I got high. La, da, 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 da.
So it's not 420.
No, it's not 420. It's 811.
811. Well,
I'm not sure what that police code is, but
yeah. Huh. Look it up.
What do you got for movies?
So actually, this is oddly what's happening right now in Hollywood. It's called The Rise of New Hollywood. Gritty, boundary-pushing independent films are redefining mainstream cinema. Mid-budget adult thrillers and explicit content are proving to be a massive profit drivers, permanently shifting studio strategies away from old-style musical extravaganzas. Sound familiar? Been kind of what's not. They're not trying to push them away. I think they're trying to push them away from redos of 80s cartoons and Marvel movies, right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And then The Godfather. We'll get to this. Hell, I'm going to go right into the top movies. Number one movie that weekend, The Godfather.
I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
The aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty transfers control of his empire to his reluctant youngest son, sparking a brutal and tragic cycle of violence and betrayal. Made $2.5 million that weekend. Here's the crazy thing. It was its 23rd consecutive week ruling the number one spot nationwide.
Damn!
From spring through summer in 1972, that's almost half of the year. Number two, Deliverance, 1.2 million. Breakout explosive hit of the month. I mean, it's not going to beat The Godfather, though. Then number three, What's Up, Doc? Made $950,000. A chaotic screwball comedy where four identical plaid overnight bags belonging to a variety of different people are mixed up in a San Francisco hotel, sparking a wild series of chases.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal slapstick tribute. Kind of sounds like something that Jerry Lewis would have done, like a movie like that. Number four, Butterflies Are Free. It made $650,000. A blind young man moves into his own San Francisco apartment to escape his overprotective mother, finding love and independence with a free-spirited neighbor. Actually sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Goldie Hawn's lighthearted, touching romantic comedy. It was one of those word-of-mouth sleeper hits. And then number 5, called Fuzz, a gritty, satirical police procedural drama following a chaotic Boston detective squad trying to track down a ruthless, deaf man who is bombarding the city with bomb threats. It made $400,000, and it was a Burt Reynolds action comedy.
Oh, Burt was in that one.
So we had 2 films in the top 5.
Damn. Hey, speaking of police, I did look up that code 811.
Yeah.
And it is kind of ironic. The code means intoxicated person or drunk subject. So, yeah, kind of fits with those two.
I had 2 movies that were released in August of 1972. August 25th, 1972, Blackula.
Yeah.
A massive hit for American International Pictures and a milestone in black exploitation cinema, introducing Prince Monomoy as a sympathetic, tragic vampire. And then from August 30th, 1972,
Yep. I know what you're going for.
Last House on the Left. Deeply controversial, highly shocking directorial debut that brought extreme raw realism to the exploitation horror subgenre.
Some good movies.
Yeah. I watched Last House on the Left not too long ago for the first time, and I was like, thought there'd be more. But I have to realize it's the 70s.
Yeah, because I think I had seen the remake before I saw the original, and I found the original to be a little comedic at points.
Yeah, not on purpose, but after you...
No, just the way it's shot.
Yeah, you've lived through the 80s and 90s and the 2000s and Rotten.com and Face of the Death. You're like, oh, that wasn't too bad.
Right.
But in 1970, like, people are like, what the fuck?
What do you got for some TV news?
Oh, the great shift to social realism. The network television landscape is undergoing an aggressive overhaul. Wholesome rural comedies are out. Sharp, socially relevant sitcoms tackling racism, politics, and the Vietnam War are taking over primetime ratings. The top 5 shows: All in the Family on CBS, Sanford and Son on NBC, Hawaii Five-0 on CBS, Maude on CBS, and Bridget Loves Bernie on CBS. I don't know that one.
No.
I love Sanford and Son, though. And some censorship battle lines. CBS executives are reportedly sweating over the upcoming scripts for Maude, a spinoff of All the Family, which is set to premiere in September.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, whispers around Hollywood suggest the show plans to tackle highly controversial women's liberation topics that will test the boundaries of network censors.
That's kind of funny that All in the Family, it actually spawned The Jeffersons too, which is another show about racial tensions and interracial relationships.
Yeah. Then there's a new late night experience. NBC is generating heavy industry buzz with the late night rock concert show experiment titled The Midnight Special. Aimed strictly at night owl youth culture, it breaks standard network molds.
I like The Midnight Special.
Yeah, I thought it was
It
fun.
shines a light on me.
Let the midnight special shine a light on me. Let the midnight special shine a ever-loving light on me.
Yeah, okay, go. What's next?
All right, I got some music news. I've got a few stories here. On August 5th, the Moody Blues reissued their 1967 single, Nights in White Satin.
Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Letters I've written, never meaning to send.
And it actually reached number 2 on the US charts, was higher than initial release. This song always got me. I knew it before this, but Rob Zombie used it in his Halloween 2 remake. It was kind of an odd, moody kind of thing. And then August 10th, Paul and Linda McCartney and their band Wings are arrested in Gothenburg, Sweden on drug possession charges with customs officials when they discover a package of hashish. And this is a kind of a funny story. Their drummer, the package was addressed to him, and the Swedish police had discovered this and basically just set him up and did a sting operation. Eventually, Paul and Linda had to pay 800 Swedish kroners, roughly estimated to 1,200 American dollars. So not horrible. It was kind of a weird thing. I'm sure it was big news at the time. So we'll go into the number one songs. And that week, number one in the US was a song titled Alone Again, Naturally by Gilbert O'Sullivan.
To doubt, talk about God in His mercy. If He really does exist, why did He desert me in my hour of need? I truly am indeed alone again, naturally.
I listened to this song this morning. I've never heard of it before. And it is a song basically about suicidal thoughts or something like that. Very weird. This song was like number one almost that whole month, but it did lose out 1 week, folks. 1 week to a much, much better song on August 27th. Looking Glasses, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl took a week of it from them. So, and then it went back to Alone Again. I don't understand people. Why do they love that song so much?
I don't know, because I love the song Brandy.
Yeah, that was a great song. And it even got, put into a new generation with Guardians of the Galaxy, but a much better song. I feel like the British sometimes have better taste than we do in the US on music, because School's Out by Alice Cooper was number one in the UK.
Yeah, but wouldn't school have been done for the summer in August, right?
I would have thought so, but these kids love that song so much. The number one country song was called Bless Your Heart by Freddie Hart. Nah, never heard of it. Number one R&B is I'm Still in Love with You by Al Green. And then there really wasn't anything else. They didn't have any of our other alternatives or dance tracks really back then. So
Back then, you have to make up your own.
yeah. What do you got for sports news, Brian?
Oh, so Major League Baseball news. San Francisco Giants pitcher Jim Barr was in the middle of a historic hot streak. By late August, he retired 41 consecutive batters across 2 separate games, shattering a Major League record that would stand strong for nearly 37 years. The unfortunate death of Ray Grunkel, a professional wrestler. The industry was shocked by the sudden passing of the popular heavyweight. Tragically suffered a fatal heart trauma in the locker room shortly after winning a brutal high-intensity match against Ox Baker in Savannah, Georgia. The Munich Summer Games are getting ready to start, set to open August 26th, and the match of the century in the World Chess Championship in Iceland, American Bobby Fischer and Soviet Boris Spassky has transformed a board game into a high-stakes front-page Cold War battle. The WWE champion at that time, Pedro Morales, the iconic Puerto Rican wrestler, holds the WWF Heavyweight Championship right in the middle of his historic 1,027-day reign, filling arenas across the Northeast Territory. So this is before WWE, so I don't know if what they're looking at. There may have been WWF, it just wouldn't have been the big thing it was now. So,
well, I don't think McMahon Sr. had taken all these territories yet.
Over, yeah, that was like in the 80s. So,
yeah, but it was always awesome that these guys who had those long streaks of like 1,000 days, or, I think Andre had the same kind of thing. And there was a few others that did it too. They fought. They defended their title night after night. They did not do like what some of our WWE champions do now. And like, oh, every month I might defend it.
Yeah. And they were traveling a lot more, and a lot more people got to see him. So that was cool. You know, some of the people, like you said, nowadays, they'll wrestle once a month or twice a month because there's way less, in person shows that aren't on TV.
Yeah. What do you got for toy news?
Toy news already? Action figure news. Mattel's Big Jim action figure line is expanding rapidly. It's complete directly with Hasbro's G.I. Joe. Industry rumors from the summer trade show reveals that Mattel is focusing heavily on sports and adventure rather than military themes to appease parents weary of the war image during the Vietnam era. The Toy Safety Act is putting massive pressure on top design houses. Celebrated toy designer Marvin Glass faces heavy media scrutiny as consumer advocacy groups target his classic toys, like early versions of the Etch-a-Sketch with its heavy metal plates, demanding safety standard overhauls for sharp edges and choking hazards. The absolute standout must-have toy of mid-1972. Take a guess. You'll never guess what this is.
Man, I would have said Barbie, but
Uno.
Uno?
While invented a year prior by an Ohio barber named Merle Robbins, 1972 was the exact year he sold the rights to a group of investors who formed International Games. By August, aggressive national marketing push turned his simple card game into an absolute household empire, flying off department shelves and fundamentally changing family game nights across the country.
That's insane.
Yeah, and of course, some other games were the G.I. Joe Adventure Team, because they had lifelike hair. I don't know where they got that at, but it had Kung Fu Grip.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
Then there was the massive sellers, especially the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb and the Mobile Support Unit playsets. And there was a Mark's Big Wheel, the undisputed king of the sidewalk. The classic low-riding plastic tricycle with its massive front wheel was a definitive summer ride for kids across America in 1972. And the number one outdoor novelty toy of the summer was a giant floor mat version of tic-tac-toe where kids threw bean bags at plastic targets to flip them to X or O, called Toss Across.
They still play those games to this day.
I know, but they have the yard darts and they don't have like the actual dart on the end anymore. I'm like, that's no fun.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. How's it supposed to stick into people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next?
All right, I got some births. So August 1st, Devon Dudley, American professional wrestler. He wrestled for WWE, TNA, several places, was born in New Rochelle, New York.
I want to reach through the table and slap you on the chest and say, Devon, get the tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
August 6th, Jerry Horner, a.k.a. Ginger Spice of the Spice Girls, was born in Watford, England.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna really, really, really wanna zig a zig.
And then I've got some actors and actresses. August 12th, Rebecca Gayheart. She started as an American model for Noxzema, but was an actress later. The one movie that I remember her from completely, Urban Legend. She was born in Hazard, Kentucky.
Really?
Well, August 15th, this is a big one. Ben Affleck, American Academy Award winning screenwriter, actor. He was in Good Will Hunting, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor. He was Batman in one movie. He was born in Berkeley, California.
Wasn't he in those Dunkin' Donuts Super Bowl commercials?
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I know him from.
This past year. And then my final one, August 30th, actress Cameron Diaz. She was the voice of Fiona in Shrek. She was in The Mask, My Best Friend's Wedding. So There's Something About Mary. Yeah, Long Beach, California.
She's Mary.
Is it the Frank or the beans?
I don't know. It looks like I think it's a little bit of both.
Break some veins! Break some veins!
Yeah, that's the best part.
How'd they get the Franks above the beans or the beans above the Frank?
Yeah, and now it's time, everybody, for everyone's favorite segment, 6 Feet Under with Rod.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Maybe 6 feet is so far.
And on August 2nd, Brian Cole, he was an American rock vocalist and bassist for the band The Association. They did like songs like Windy and Cherish. He dies of a drug overdose at 29. Only reason why I bring this guy up is because he was 2 years late for being in the 27 category with the rest of the rockers who died. Sorry, Brian. And August 28th, Prince William of Gloucester was killed when his light aircraft crashed and exploded during an air race in Staffordshire, England. He was the grandson of King George V and cousin to Queen Elizabeth II. He was only 30 years old. He was competing in the Goodyear International Air Trophy race, and shortly after takeoff, the plane banked sharply and it clipped some treetops, and then it crashed in the grassy bank. But both Prince William and his co-pilot died in a fiery wreckage, so there was no way he was going to survive in that. And the kind of interesting thing with this one is that Prince Charles, who's now, is he the king now? Is he King Charles? Nobody really says. England's so freaking weird. You know, his eldest son is Prince William, and it was widely believed that he named him after this Prince William because he actually looked up to Prince William of Gloucester. So it's kind of interesting. And then I did go to September 5th, and that would have been the time pretty close that some of the Olympic stuff was going on, because there was a Israeli Olympic wrestling coach, Moshe Weinberg. He was murdered in Munich at the Munich Olympics. He was basically massacred by the terrorist group called Black September. He was 32 years old. But there was this group called Black September, and they went after some Israeli athletes and coaches and stuff. And Weinberg was the first victim because he sacrificed his life to help several of the other athletes before being shot. He was captured, but fought back against his attackers. And then he also misled the terrorists about the locations of some of the other Israeli athletes so that they can get away, which that allowed 2 men to break out of and escape while others hid. 11 Israeli athletes and coaches were ultimately killed during the tragedy, which this actually changed the Olympic security forever, because this group just got into the hotel where all these athletes were in, and they shot and then they threw the bodies out the window.
Yeah, it was international news.
Yeah.
Did the Olympics continue after all that? Do you remember?
I don't recall. That story was September 5th, and I would have thought that Olympics would have been done by then, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And because of that story, it's tragic. And to celebrate some peaceful quotes, I've got one from Maya Angelou. I don't believe an accident of birth makes people sisters or brothers. It makes them siblings. Sisterhood and brotherhood is a condition people have to work at. And then one other one from Albert Einstein: peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding.
Well, I understand that them guys had a gun and them boys had pretty teeth, so.
That marks the end of our broadcast day here at The Wrong Podcast Died. Our transmission is powered by a frequency of 800 watts. We will resume our usual programming in 2 weeks. Until then, we bid you good night.